if we can move to talking about community models and discuss what you want to think about for a model community. I know we're in the last half hour of a long meeting. We've alluded to several of these already. I wanted to allude to two. Is anybody near a window? Could we open these? Because it is hot. Even though it's November, we've somehow made the room work. Okay. All right. For those of you who were here last month, I just wanted to remind you again, we talked about this stormwater capture master plan in Los Angeles from the point of view of water supply. It's replenishing their groundwater. But of course, the impetus at stormwater was cleansing the stormwater. And I just wanted to remind you, there's those full cycle plants. Next up, we talked about water recycling. As the folks on our panel very ably stated, reusing water, using purple pipes, and land application are things that feel fairly comfortable and usable in this community. So, had experience. Now I want to talk about a few new ones real quick. First, toilet to tap. This is the shortest one I could find in the country right now. Okay, Cloudcroft, New Mexico is a town of 900. It's literally the top of a mountain. It has what it bills as the highest golf course in America at 9,000 feet. And it has basically no water storage at all. So in 2007, in response to a really serious drought in which they were trucking up something on the order of 20,000 gallons of water a day, because they're like Big Sky. Low base population swelled to several thousand from tourism. They started saying, okay, that wastewater, that's a resource. And so when we talk about their motivation was water supply, but when you look at what they've done with water cleansing, they're not online. This is taking a long time. They say any day now, according to their website. They have a 3-part treatment system, but here's what they're almost have online now. They start with a system that's like what Kevin described for Moonlight. That's in design. That's part 1, the MBR. And then they take a piece off to water the golf course with that treated recycled water. Step 2 is a reverse osmosis. And then New Mexican state law does not allow 100% toilet to tap. So they're going to mix 50% fresh water from groundwater and spring sources and 50% highly treated wastewater at that point. Run it through a third ultrafiltration system. So what they're putting online is significantly above drinking water standards. There has been some yuck factor, but compared to the next example, very little actually. Desperation is an interesting driver. The bigger issue for them has been cost overruns and implementation. They started this right at the beginning of the Great Recession. New Mexico basically stalled for several years, as you can imagine. Water projects stalled too. They've had some other problems with management, but they claim they're going to get it on either late this year or early next year. So that when you go to Cloudcroft, you'll be drinking your own wastewater. Okay, next one. We talked about snowmaking, and it's great to hear the pilot and so many of you involved with it. What's interesting about Arizona Snow Bowl is not only are they using treated wastewater, it's Class A that they're using, but they're putting it on the slopes. And what I thought was interesting when I started digging into this is City of Flagstaff actually makes money off of this scheme. This isn't a giveaway. They're selling it. The current agreement is they started this project in 2002. The next 10 years were taken up primarily by lawsuits. In 2012, they started applying. They had a rust problem, so the snow came out yellow initially in 2012. Probably not the best seller, but they really quickly got over that. And since then, they've been putting it on. In 2014, City of Flagstaff greatly expanded it. Sale of 44.9 million gallons to the ski area per winter for 20 years. That's the contract. They got sued again. There's a bunch of things. The San Francisco Peaks are considered sacred by several tribes, particularly Hopi. There were some of the the yuck factor comes in big time, and the links I put on the web, even some of the copy editors had a hard time keeping yuck out of their, not the word, but the feeling, out of their headlines. But that lawsuit was settled this summer, and they're going with it. It looks like they've got a 20-year contract and are done, and they have been applying. There are other ski areas. Kristen, thank you, sent me some links. I'll get those up. But, you know, one of the things to think about is the difference between being a first mover versus a mover after a couple early adopters have been in. And we may see far less yuck factor in the future. We'll see. Third one I want to talk about is Bridgeable. Jeff alluded to this earlier. Otto Stein, out of the Civil Engineering and Center for Biofilm at MSU, he's got a group that's been testing and constructing wetlands for high altitudes, variable flows. Their effluent flow is actually quite a bit higher nitrogen than a typical domestic effluent flow. And they tested this for carbon and nitrogen removal. Pretty good. It works in the winter. Interesting test case. And the group keeps working on both. You can see some of the engineering design and also which plant species will function over the winter. So I think that's something in a local resource, so you don't have to go too far to find somebody who's an expert. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is green infrastructure methods. There's stormwater control. You reduce runoff, improve water quality. There's other benefits. We talked last time about the slowing, adding to your water supply. There can also be some temperature benefits and air quality benefits. You don't have to go far to find tons of great, interesting, innovative methods. Sierra, I want to thank you for FlexiPave. That just got installed this fall in Yellowstone. It's a permeable, flexible pavement, which, thinking of the geology of Yellowstone, is actually useful to have some flex in your cement. And that's the top picture there is a demo. It's about 23% permeable. It can soak up a lot of water in a pretty brief time and then let it go slowly. The second one I wanted to just highlight today is bioswales, which are a combination of engineered and natural systems. The one here is in Ventura County, called it, believe it or not, Happy Valley. So basically you build a baffle to get the big chunks. You have a somewhat sloped natural system for infiltration and filtering, and then it in a lot of cases, in the more urban cases, runs into storm drains. There's tons of these. Some of these are done here, some of these are done in urban places around the state. There's lots of examples. One of the sort of barriers is a lot of the levels that you can go to with these are voluntary rather than regulatory. And so there's costs involved. And if somebody's putting the cost in, say a developer, but somebody else, say the community or the ecosystem, is getting the benefit, there may be an opportunity to pay for it, but we've got to think about that. The costs and benefits aren't evenly distributed. And that is all I have for models.